Hi, I just wanted to make a quick video to discuss the difference between in place and not in place methods in Python, and this will help you clarify some of the questions in the homework. Let's start with strings and string methods. String methods are going to be not in place, and what that means is that the string methods don't modify the original object, right? So if you apply a method to a string, whatever calculation or process that method applies is going to be an output. It's not going to modify the original string, right? So I'm going to demonstrate here. We have this string that I store in the variable curriculum. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the replace method to change 101 to 100. And when I run this, you're going to see that this is going to produce an output that gets printed to the console by default here. Okay, so as you can see, the when I run this code, it outputs intro to CS is CS 100, so it made the change, and then advanced CS is CS 201. Okay, so the change, the process was the result of the process was printed. It was an output into the console. So now, if when we have these type of not in place methods, we can assign it directly to a new variable, right? Because this gives me an output, and then I can send that output to a new variable. In this case, we're going to say the new variable is curriculum updated. And when I run that, I should see the same result, right? So now I am printing this to the console, and I have that replaced method applied to the string. And if I look at the original string, it didn't change, right? And that's what is meant by not in place. It did not change this variable in place. Lists list methods are a little bit different, and lists are mutable objects, and that means that I can modify a list and then still call it the original list plus the modification, right? So let me run you through the example. And list methods, some of them are going to be in place, and some methods are not going to be in place, and we'll go through some examples. So now I have this list here called colleges, and we have 3 colleges: science, English, and mathematics. And I verify that that is the content of that variable once I assign it. And then I'm going to use the method append, and I'm going to append engineering to colleges, right? And this is going to be an in-place change. So what I'm expecting is that this is going to modify the original list colleges, right? So I run the method, and then I print that to the console, and I see that the original list was modified in place. Now, if we try this directly, if we try to assign an in-place method to a new variable, we run into a bit of an issue, right? We're gonna get nothing. Okay, so see that when I run the this method here, I got an output to the console. When I do the same thing for colleges updated, and now I'm adding business to it, right? I don't get anything. I don't get an output. And when we print the content of this variable, I get the word none, which means there is absolutely nothing inside of this new variable, even though I assigned colleges.append business, right? So you could see now the problem that you're running into if you're using this methodology, right? Now, if we look at the original, we'll see that it was changed in place, right? So now I run I appended engineering, and then in this second try I appended business, and both of those changes have been made to the original list. Okay, so that is one thing that you have to take into account when you're working with lists and strings and methods. Which objects are mutable, which ones are not immutable, and then you're going to get a sense of the type of method you're working with. But even with list, not all list methods are in place. And here are some examples. If I take a copy of colleges, I'm going to get an output, which kind of makes sense. The idea of this method is to create a copy, and presumably you want to send the output of that copy to a new variable. And then if you count the number of times that science appears on the list, that's something that you probably also want the output for it. And then the pop method is also not in place method. So none of these methods are going to modify the original list. Anyway, I just wanted you to have a clear idea of how these methods work and the concept of in place and not in place. And this is something that when we get into the pandas module is going to play even more of a role, when you're going to have the choice to modify data frames into in place or not in place and assign them to new variables.